He is the president and CEO of the San Francisco Giants. He's Larry Baer, who joins us now.
Hey, Dan. Hi, Dan.
And he came bearing gifts as well.
Bearing gifts. We have, you're now a Giant for life. Here we are, the cream-colored jerseys.
All right.
That Willie Mays, Willie McCovey, Barry Bonds wore.
Yeah.
And it's all yours.
Well,
welcome to San Francisco.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for letting us have the facility here. Now, can you...
Great having you.
Can you turn on the Jumbotron? Do you have something on your phone?
Oh, my button to turn on the Jumbotron. Okay. Got my little my little shoe button.
Have you ever opened the stadium for your kids to go in and, like, they want to take... have wiffle ball or something like that?
We've had a lot of activities here for school groups and everything. Not just for my children, but we've, it's such a magical thing, a ballpark. We kind of take it for granted, those of us who come to it every day. But I have memories of going with my father out to Candlestick Park on the bus and watching Willie Mays, Willie McCovey, Juan Marichal, play, Hall of Famers, all Hall of Famers play when the Giants moved to San Francisco in the 60s and then the 70s at Candlestick. And this ballpark now, Oracle Park, our new ballpark, is quarter century old and going strong. Yeah,
I was going to ask you about the shelf life of stadiums, because it feels like there is a finite amount of time before we then tear something down and we maybe move someplace or build something on the same property here. Why will this be different here?
Dan, I think it depends. I think it depends on a few things, on the location, on the feel, on how you're able to really curate a ballpark over time. And I'll never forget when we acquired the Giants, it goes back now to the 1990s, early 90s, 93. Candlestick Park was 30 years old or so. Felt like it was 75 years old. Dodger Stadium was the same age, 30 years about, because Giants and Dodgers moved west at the same time, and it felt like it was 10 years old. It was maintained beautifully, Dodger Stadium, and here it is going strong today. So, we very much hope that we can be in the vein of Wrigley Field and Fenway Park and, be around forever. There'll be improvements, and we do that every year. We do make changes and add and subtract and do things. But I think, we're really proud of the city of San Francisco and the location and the support. So we're not going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah, you did it right, though. The vistas, public transportation, you have people coming into the city, which is really important. Building around, that's what worries me. Bears are going to go outside the city. The Cleveland Browns outside. I want people going into a city, not leaving a city.
Well, I think, look, part of the urban experience, we like to talk about work, live, play. People living downtown, going to the ballpark, working downtown. It's a great urban experience here in San Francisco and lots of cities around the country. And I think if a ballpark could be part of that experience, I think also baseball uniquely, because it's played during the day often, it's in the summer. You want to have that experience in and around a city with the restaurants and the economic benefit that you can get. When this ballpark opened 30 years ago, there wasn't a lot around this neighborhood. Now we have a whole area, a whole neighborhood. It's really the growth engine of San Francisco is right where we're sitting here, right, within a walking distance of the ballpark.
I was walking around yesterday, saw the statues, McCovey, Marichal, Willie Mays. Where are you placing Barry Bonds' statue? TBD on Barry, but Barry, it's interesting because the five that we have are in the Hall of Fame, the 5 statues. That's been sort of our criteria, but we view Barry as a Hall of Famer, even though he's not in the Hall of Fame, and that's obviously a big, long discussion that has been had and will continue to be had, but in our minds, he is a Hall of Famer and statue-worthy. Jeff Kent, we're proud that Jeff Kent is going in the Hall of Fame now, coming from the New Era ballot. And a year from now, we have some others, including Buster Posey, who is our president of baseball operations, who we believe should be a first ballot. Does everybody get a statue?
If you're in the Hall of Fame. So your statue's coming when you go in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Okay, so does Bonds have any say in this?
In terms of whether he gets a statue or
No,
where it is?
where it is.
Yeah, we've talked to some with Barry about it, and we need to have that conversation and help figure it out. Yeah.
How do you come to grips with him being a Hall of Famer? If I say make the case for Barry Bonds, Hall of Famer.
Look, it's a tough one for us because it's not a tough decision. We believe he absolutely should be in the Hall of Fame. There's criteria on the ballot, and it's hard for us to opine on him versus other players. We think it's a really difficult discussion, but by any objective measure, him and there are others that are not in the Hall of Fame that we believe are worthy in that era deserve to go, and that's something that's not going to get sorted out easily. Barry was from '93 to '99. Before the allegations, was, we believe, Hall of Fame worthy for his career in Pittsburgh and San Francisco. So, that we can't, it's just, you have a feel for it, and it's a subjective view, and Barry's a giant. Barry's a great giant, one of the greatest of all time, and we believe he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame and deserves a statue.
Fill in the blank. The Dodgers are blank for baseball.
The Dodgers are a great competitor for baseball, for the Giants.
Do you hate the Dodgers?
I don't think, it's an interesting discussion. And I think you've talked to the commissioner about this and others, and let's just take all the sports. And here we are, at Super Bowl week. I think having a dragon to slay in a sport, and if you go back, it was, what in the NFL was once upon a time the Cowboys, the 49ers had their run. That's not all bad. The Yankees did that in baseball. You could say that's the Dodgers now. Having a dragon to slay isn't necessarily a bad thing for the sport. We want to beat the Dodgers, and we want to be at the top of the division, and one day we want to be the dragon to slay. Baseball is unpredictable as well. When we won 3 championships in 2010, 12, and 14, we weren't predicted to win any of those years. And we didn't have a top 5 payroll any of those years. So hats off to the Dodger organization, because they've done it with obviously high-priced players, but they've also done it with farm system and development.
Well, people lose sight of the fact, what were they, 2 outs away from losing that World Series? So it wasn't that they breezed through everybody, but when did you decide, like, do you have to hate the Dodgers? Like, that comes with the rivalry, doesn't it?
You know what? Let me tell you a quick story, a couple of quick stories. Okay, number one, growing up in San Francisco, Juan Marichal and John Roseborough, and Giant Dodgers, and Maury Wills and Sandy Koufax and Don Drysdale with Mays, McCovey, Marichal. I mean, it was just one of the great rivalries of sports, and it remains a great rivalry. So hate is, I don't like the word hate, because it's just like it's a rivalry that gets your blood boiling in a good way. But the story I wanted to say is, the Giants almost moved to Florida. This is 1992, and the team was financially on the ropes, and that's when our group came together to buy the team. But there was a deal signed to move the team to Florida. The number one supporter of the Giants staying in San Francisco, Peter
Dodgers.
O'Malley and the Dodgers, because we came out together from Brooklyn and New York in 1958, and this is a spectacular rivalry. So on the field, we try to beat each other's brains in. Off the field, we're actually, colleagues and partners in trying to grow the sport, and having opened up the sport in California, first 2 teams west of the Mississippi. The Giants and Dodgers it's a great rivalry. So the fans, we like the fans being energized and all, but we think it's, really adds to the value of the sport, having this rivalry.
He's the president, CEO of the Giants, Larry Baer. Can you overspend on your team?
Can you overspend? I mean, the question is, how do you define overspending? Does it mean being in the luxury tax? Does it mean if you do development, the right way, right? In which we were lucky enough in that era when we won championships. Pretty much the entire team was homegrown, right? Between Buster Posey and Masson Bumgarner and Tim Lincecum and Brandon Crawford and Brandon Belt. And so we didn't overspend. We didn't have to overspend. You know, we were somewhere in the top 10, but we weren't in the top 5 in spending. So I guess the question is, do you need to overspend to win? I would say the answer is no. But you have to have the right development in baseball. Remember, baseball is different. I mean, you come off a college campus or a high school campus for that matter, and you've got, the very best players are in the minor leagues for 3 years, 4 years. And that's really where a lot of the arms race is now. It's not necessarily, yes, signing free agents can matter, and we've had some great free agents, Barry Bonds at the top of the list, who have mattered a lot. But if you didn't have the 24 other players to pair them with and the guys that are coming up through the minors, it's hard to do it through free agents only.
Were you in on the Ohtani sweepstakes?
Yeah. We were in on the Ohtani. We had Shohei sitting in just across the water here in the ballpark trying to woo him.
And you were going to let him pitch and hit?
Yes.
Because not everybody wanted to do that.
We were going to let him pitch and hit, and we, in our salary and deal was competitive to was pretty much the same as the Dodgers. The agents for him at the time, CAA, they basically set out the deal, and we would have played along with that deal. But look, we understand everything. He was in Southern California. He is one of one. He's a unicorn. He's amazing, and he's good for the sport.
Were you closer to getting Ohtani or Aaron Judge?
I don't know. I mean, Aaron Judge grew up a lot closer to San Francisco than Shohei did. I
thought you were getting him. I thought you guys were going to.
We had, it's interesting because Aaron's such a great guy, and he's grew up near here. We totally understand going back to the Yankees, his decision to go back to the Yankees, because you're a Yankee great, and you step away from that. It was in some ways out of our hands in the sense that we were going to be competitive on the numbers. I'm not sure there were any numbers that were going to get him here if the Yankees decided in the end they were going to keep him. We had a great event here with his parents, and Aaron was quoted as saying his favorite player growing up was Rich Aurelia, who played shortstop, who hit in front of Barry Bonds, right? And so when Aaron was growing up in the 90s, and so we had a little event here where Aaron, we were having a dinner, and Aaron gets tapped on the shoulder. He turns around, and he said, "Aaron, nice to meet you. I'm Rich Aurelia." So, look, we did what we could, but again, Aaron Judge is good for baseball. He's a tremendous player. We didn't walk into that thinking that there was some huge, 90% chance he was going to come to us, because he at the time was a Yankee great, and to continue as a Yankee great is a big deal.
Thanks for the accommodations. Not only this year, but a couple of years ago at the Super Bowl, where we were in the Scottsdale Stadium. It was wonderful. Your people have been great, and we appreciate the accommodations.
Well, thanks, Dan. We love the partnership. We love the partnership with you and your group, and with NBC. And we look forward to, on NBC and Peacock, Sunday Night Baseball returning. And I saw our friend Bob Costas is coming back on the air, which is awesome.
I know. Larry Baer, the president, CEO of the San Francisco Giants. We'll take a break. We're back after this Dan Patrick Show.